Brittany Lawson. I'm with Engage by Cell. I've been with this company for about a little over 3 years. My main role is just talking with folks about our solutions and how we can help with some of the engagement obstacles you might be facing. So my primary role with being a mobile solutions consultant is helping folks in the adult education space because I have so much knowledge on what that industry is all about. A little bit of background about Engage by Cell. We're US based. We also are cloud-based. So that means you're not going to have any download barriers. Everything we have is accessible through a QR code or clicking on a link, and everything is stored in the cloud. So yeah, it's great to be able to access these platforms and the information from anything that has internet access. We've been in business for 20 plus years. We actually started in the cultural space, if you can believe it or not. But now the brunt of our business is in adult education and workforce development, which kind of go hand in hand. But that's definitely where we get most of our business from. We've got a lot of web app users, about 2.4 million in 2025, 7.5 million texting users. And we're a small company with real people, no bots. So even on our chat on our website, those are real people on the other end. So if you ever have questions, reach out to us. We're happy to help. All right. So one of the big topics at COABE for myself and everyone that I talked with was trying to understand what the engagement between students and staff is looking like these days. Back when I was in adult education, a big struggle that I had was balancing all the students that were in my pipeline. These folks that I had met out in the community or in high schools that were interested in getting an education and wanted more information, but then maybe they also wanted to attend some events. They wanted to learn more about multiple different programs. They wanted to pass info on to their friend because they were interested too. But how do you then balance, 50, 100, 200 plus people that want to learn more? And it was difficult to balance that. I found that text messaging was the best way to do it. But I also had a company cell phone to text. So if I was sending a message, I was copying and pasting that text out to send it to everybody one by one, which is super time consuming. I'm sure some of you are using that method now, which is fine if you've got like maybe 10 people to reach out to, but if you've got any more than that, it can take a long time. So that was my biggest struggle. But, at COABE, I was learning about everybody's struggles with engagement and, what's needed today. So, I mean, obviously, your participants you're in the adult education world, all your students, I mean, they're mobile first. They've all got their cell phones. If you think about your doctor's appointments, things like this, a webinar, anything that you've got going on, you're probably using your calendar on your phone to stay up to speed and have your life scheduled. You need little reminder text messages coming your way. You're accessing your email and everything from your phone is kind of your in-pocket calendar now. So being able to access things on your phone is really, really important. With adult learners, they're they're primarily using their smartphones for everything, even their coursework. A different trade school that I was working at that is in Texas, they made sure that their lessons were also mobile friendly. So anything that they could do on their desktop, they could also see a mobile friendly version from their cell phone because maybe they were just tackling a quick lesson or a quiz from their cell phone on their lunch break. What some of you are probably finding is that phone calls don't get answered as much these days. And emails get missed. How many times do you have an event or maybe even just like a campus closure or something and you say, I didn't hear back from you, or why did you show up to campus when we had a snowstorm and complain about it? Oh, I didn't get your email or I didn't get your call. Okay, well, being able to send a text message would be a great way to make sure that they saw that information. A lot of programs are also struggling with students missing their appointments that they set up. Their events have low attendance. Staff might feel overwhelmed with their outreach as well, and communication gaps are a big part of all of this. So the way that you can help get over those obstacles one way anyways is through text messaging. Just being able to send those quick little reminders and, get a head count for who's showing up for an event. That also has a link to it that says, hey, here's what you need to bring to your new student orientation. And texting can help you bridge that gap. They're not answering their call. That doesn't mean they're not going to answer your text. Even if they're really, really busy, they're going to see it come through and they can respond yes, or got it, or just even like it. And then they've acknowledged you can consider that some communication. With a system like ours as well, with text messaging, you can help your staff be less overwhelmed by automating some text messages, especially when it comes to new students, for example. I'm sure there's a line of questions that are asked regardless of what program they are in and what time of year they're starting. There's probably a few questions that you're going to ask no matter what, and you can automate those. So have it scheduled out based on when they're joining, your text list to talk with you. So that'll help streamline that outreach process and make staff less overwhelmed, saving more time and energy. Benefits of mobile technology. So today we're going to talk, and I'll show some examples of text messaging and mobile web apps. So as I'm sure you're aware, texting is a huge hit. Everybody's texting these days. Back in the day, it used to be email. Now it's texting. So texts actually have a 98% open rate. They're read within 3 minutes. And email has only a 16% open rate, as I'm sure some of you are aware of. With text messaging, you can make it more targeted. You can have specific lists that you're reaching out to. You can do that with email as well. But with text messaging, you can do that too. So make it more efficient and more engaging. You can increase your event attendance, your program participation, and your student retention. If you were having those small little touches throughout, and even just sending a quick text to maybe a group of 10 students that missed class yesterday that says, hey, it's Brittany at XYZ program. Noticed you were gone yesterday. Everything okay? On their end, it's going to look like a personal message from you, but you actually sent it to those 10 that somehow ended up on your list of missed class when you did an RSVP text message list, or an attendance text message list, which is possible. So being able to send those little touches, and it goes a long way with them. They need to feel like they've got a little bit of hand holding sometimes is needed in adult ed because they've got so much going on. It adds a lot of convenience, as I mentioned, not having to copy and paste those text messages, being able to just send that text to all 10 of those missed students in the time it takes to send one text. Saves a lot of time. Sending links is great. So if they're already opening a text message but you've got more info that you need to send that can't fit in that character count, include it in a link. Build a little page in a mobile web app, and I'll show you what that looks like. And you're just sending it a link. Hey, don't forget, new student orientation is on Friday at 4:30 p.m. Click here for more info. They're going to open it and get all the information that they need without having to navigate and get lost and struggle finding it on a website. But you can use this for reminders, alerts, all kinds of stuff. Now, our mobile apps, they look and feel like a native app that you would download from an app store, but it's all web-based. So it's basically just taking a website and making it way more user-friendly so that it looks like an app, because we all have apps and we're all used to using those. You're just scanning a QR code, as I mentioned, or clicking that link. You can have as much content as you want on there, but on the end user side, it's not using that much data. They don't have to have that download. It's not taking up a bunch of storage space. It's easy to access. Resources, flyers, videos, surveys, polls. We'll do some polls today. You can have all kinds of content on there. We have one client that had 80 or so different phone numbers so that teachers could have their own phone number to reach out to their students. And then their teachers all had their own individual little page in the mobile web app so that they could have their lesson for the week on there. So maybe they'd have some text and a video and a little quiz. And then they would send a reminder to the students, hey, I need you to watch this video and answer this quiz question by Friday. So using mobile web apps makes things seamless. You can do real-time updates. Everything's on the fly. So if you make an edit, it's going to be live right away. You don't have to go through an IT team or figure out, oh, what's the coding to make this show up this way? It's all drag and drop. Easy, easy stuff. And with everything that we have, whether it's texting or mobile web apps, there's a ton of reporting and metrics. So you can see who's hitting what pages, what time of day is the most popular for people to explore our new programs page. And then as far as text messaging goes, I sent out a link to all of our graduates that has information about graduation ceremony, but I didn't get a lot of responses. Let me check this report and see who clicked that link. And you'll get to see, okay, how many of your graduates actually clicked it and read the material. So that's important to have. There's tons of reporting. One of the most popular ones and one of the obstacles that I heard a lot at CoAbe is that many folks are using text messaging, but they're using Google Voice or they are using their personal or company cell phones. And when you use just a regular cell phone rather than a service like this, there's no way for supervisors to just keep an eye on things and see conversations. So reporting is needed, a way for supervisors to go in and, see what's going on. So lots of reporting that way. Communication has changed a lot over the years. We talked about this real briefly, but obviously, as I'm sure most of you remember, back then phone calls were the thing. We were answering all of our phone calls. Today, I know a lot of people, and I heard this a lot at CoAbe too, is that phone calls are just not being answered because primarily scammers. There's just too many scammers out there. A number that is unrecognized comes through and we're scared to answer it. Emails were read, QR codes weren't necessarily big, didn't really understand how to use them or had to have a special app to scan QR codes. Resources were primarily gathered in person and you have office hours. So how do you reach people in the evenings and on the weekends when you're working with adults that are working during the day? Today, it's a little bit different. So phone calls are being ignored, of course. Emails are hard to find because we get so many. QR codes, they are well known now, especially after COVID. There's a few things that were beneficial from COVID, and one of them was adapting to technology. We're all kind of on the same page now as far as using QR codes goes. Smartphones are the primary means of communication and learning, and people are more willing to use their personal devices for job seeking and all kinds of stuff. So it is a great time to use more technology and adapt that because that's where people are. And a big thing in adult ed is meet people where they are, and they're on their phones. So what I'd like to do with y'all now is test some of this stuff out that we've been talking about. So we're going to do a text message here. So this is going to allow you to pretend that you are a potential adult ed student. Maybe you're attending a career fair and you meet XYZ program. They've got a booth set up and you want to know more information. So they've got this QR code on their table. So what you'll do is open up your camera app and scan this. When you scan it, it's going to populate a little bubble that you'll click that then creates the text message for you. So all you're doing once it pops up the text is hit send. So you're sending Brittany space learn to that 925 number. And if you did it correctly, you'll get an automatic reply. Hi, this is Adult Ed Program. It was great meeting you at the career fair. Click here to get more info. Feel free to click that link and it'll take you to an example of a mobile web app that you can explore. Now, what you're going to have happen next, too, is a couple more drips will come through. I have set up a sequence, which is a great feature that we've got that I was mentioning earlier. So maybe for like new student orientation or a situation like this where you met some folks at a career fair, you can set up some out of mind, out of sight text messages. They're going to automatically send based on when someone joined a list that you set up. So we will all get a couple more text messages and they'll just be spaced a minute apart. But you could set that up for new student orientation where they're getting one on their nice to meet you text. They're getting a thanks for signing up for this program. We're excited to have you as a new student. Maybe a day two text. hey, it's day 2. How are things going? And then a survey at the end of their course or a congratulations on graduating, whatever. Sky's the limit. So we'll move on here, but you'll receive a few more little text messages as you go. So when you click that link in the text message, you're going to be navigated to that mobile web app. And what this does is it'll show you, and this is just an example, but it'll be a little one-stop shop for potential students. So you've got an About Us section, programs and courses, admissions, student resources. Everything that you build in here will have your branding, your colors, font. You can build whatever content you see fit. So it's a pretty great little resource center. All right, our next activity is going to be a poll, and then we'll review the results together because I'd love to hear from some folks on what's working and what's not working for you. So let's scan this new QR code. This is going to take you to a different spot. It's going to take you to our mobile web app again, but this is a hidden page, which you have the capability of doing. So let's say you're working with some current students and you want them to fill out a feedback form, a survey, post-graduation survey. It could be a hidden page within the web app, but they're only getting it to it if they have the QR code or the link. So you send it all out to your grads. So scan this QR code. It's going to bring up your poll questions and go ahead and answer those questions. The first one I want to hear about is how would you rank your attendance for events? One of the big things I heard at COABE is that event attendance is really lacking. We need more people showing up to the open houses that we're having. We have a lot of people that show interest and sign up for classes, but then they don't show up to new student orientation. These are some big obstacles. Events are so important to get people face to face and on campus. It shows their initiative and seriousness about excelling and being successful and just showing up to the classes that you're offering. The next poll question is, what is your primary way of engaging with off-campus students? There's a lot of programs that have hybrid students or 100% remote students. So how are you engaging with those folks? Or if you've just got on-campus programs, but maybe you've got some students that aren't showing up, how are you getting in touch with them to reel them back in? What do staff struggle with the most when engaging with students? This is the third poll question. So maybe the problem is that students they're not responding. Maybe managing your caseload is a little bit too overwhelming, or there's just better resources needed to have better outreach, or maybe it's another reason. So go ahead and answer those poll questions and we'll go over those results. It should be pulling up the result too right away. Let's see here. I'll give you a minute to do that. And I'm actually going to see if I can pull up some of these results here so we can look at them together. All right. So I see this one result here. So this is for how would you rank your attendance at events? We've got a couple people saying great. Majority of folks are saying okay, some show up. Do you think that attendance would be a little bit better if you had a way to send them more reminders or a more easily accessible reminder, like through a text message rather than an email reminder or social media? A lot of schools I was talking to at COABE said that they use their social media for announcements. Not everybody has social media. And a lot of folks are using Facebook as their social media. And Facebook, I think more and more is one of the pages that's maybe less popular. There's Instagram and other things that are becoming more popular. So are you posting there as well? But maybe you do that. But in addition to that, you do text message. Texting and web apps are not meant to necessarily take over what you're already doing. It's meant to add on and just help enhance what you're already doing. All right, let's go back and look at the other result. Other question. What is your primary way of engaging with off-campus students? Texting. Awesome. Glad to see that. Emailing and calling. Great. Calling can take some time, especially if you're reaching out to a lot, but it's still an important way to engage with folks. But I'm glad that a lot of you are using texting as well. That's good. All right, and then let's look at the last one here. What do staff struggle with the most when engaging with students? Students don't respond. Okay. Managing too many students, not enough time. And other. I wonder what this other is. The person who answered other, if you could, maybe drop in the chat box what your answer is if it's other. But yeah, if students aren't responding, I wonder why that's happening. Is it because you're not using text messaging, you're using another form of outreach? Also, if you are using texting and they're not responding, are you using text messaging in addition to calling and emailing? And then also something to keep in mind, because it's still, you're still going to have some students that don't respond. Maybe something happened in their life and they are, they're going to circle back to you. What you could do too, as I mentioned, is send a link. So send a link in a text message, but when you do it in our system, you're going to be able to go into reporting and see if they clicked the link. So that's a great way to see if they're actually engaging with you or not. But we also have reports that will tell you if it delivered or not. So maybe they changed their phone number or it got disconnected. That happens a lot in adult ed, phone numbers changing and getting disconnected. So we have reports that will show you that. If you send a text to 100 folks and 2 of them kick back, it'll tell you that it did not deliver, but also why it didn't deliver, so you can get a better form of communication with them going. All right. Thanks for answering those poll questions, everybody. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and move on to our Q&A section. We're going to wrap things up here. Go ahead and drop any questions that you have in the chat. Also, we're going to be doing, myself specifically, will be doing some demonstrations of our platform. So I'm happy to do any more in-depth conversations with you about some of the struggles that you're facing and ways that our tools can help you overcome those obstacles. So I'll show you a demonstration of how our text messaging works and how our mobile web app works and how it can work for you and help you save time. All right. Any questions that you have, go ahead and drop them in the chat. All right, I see one from Gloria. I work with justice impacted youth adults, and they change their numbers a lot. And also they have issues that take first priority, such as housing. Okay, so maybe that was, Gloria, you might have been the one that answered other. Yeah, that totally makes sense. So they've just got a lot going on. That's why you're not hearing back from them. Yep. Okay. Yep, she said yes. So if they're changing their number a lot, at least what our adult ed clients will do is that they can send a message out, and if it's kicking back, they'll check that report and they'll see, oh, it's a disconnected number, or it did not deliver for whatever reason it is. If they change their number, it'll say it did not deliver. So then they can see, oh, I'm not going to keep texting this person. They're not getting my text messages. I need to call, their backup phone number or maybe their emergency contact just to get a better number for them, or try emailing them or whatever it might be. At least then and you have some clarity on why they're not responding. Also, you said they have some issues that take first priority, such as housing. Absolutely. Eventually, those obstacles, they do overcome them. But you might have some resources for them as well to help. But the only way that you can help them is if they are responding to you and letting you know that they have something going on. So if they let you know that they have this obstacle going on, you could then help them get connected with some housing resources that you might have or another organization you partner with might have. It's just great to have that relationship. And sometimes a text message is all they can get out. So if you just check in, just say, hey, we've been missing you. I know you got a lot going on. We've got another program starting in 6 weeks. If you're interested, let me know. And you can have that quick, back and forth. Just touching in now, checking base, touching back in with them now and then will go a long way. Eventually, they'll say, hey, things finally settled down. I'm ready to look into that program again. So just stay in touch with those texts randomly. Any questions anybody's got? I'm going to go ahead and go to this last slide here. This has my contact information and one more QR code for you. So go ahead and scan this QR code, and this will take you directly to my calendar. So you can book a time to talk further with me. We'll have a little chat over Zoom where you can tell me about the obstacles that you're facing, and I'll be able to tell you, maybe about a client that's had that same problem or a problem I had in the past when I was working in adult ed, and exactly how our tools can help you overcome that. I'll show you how it works through the back end of our system, and I'll get you some pricing. We'll get a proposal over your way. So, great information. Thanks for sharing. You are welcome, Patty. All right. So yeah, scan that QR code. And again, Megan has been recording for us. So she will send these slides out once we're done. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Good luck as you continue engaging and prepping this summer for upcoming programs, getting graduates across the stage. You're all doing great work.